Hey Anna,
Hey, Mike.
so I've been playing around on Doghood again.
Oh, yes. How's it going?
Well, really good because they got a new events sort of section, and it's prompted me. Ira and all the good folk at All Dogs Matter. They've got a post up here reminding me that they're doing their spooktacular Halloween dog walk, which I completely forgot about. Which is just around the corner, will be on the Heath, and it's on Sunday, the 29th of October. So I've got that reminder now. I will plan to be there rather than thinking about it way too late and missing it like I did last year.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to be there this year, so that'd be a great opportunity to meet up. But that's kind of what the Doghood app's all about, really. It's meeting like-minded people and sharing fun times with your dog. So your dog's not at home, your dog's with you, and you're meeting new friends.
Definitely. So, where can folk get this new Doghood app?
They have to go to the App Store, and it's doghoodapp.com. And it just works on iPhones at the moment, but that won't be for long. So it's the doghoodapp.com.
And there'll be a handy link in the show notes.
Exactly. All the links are always in the show notes, aren't they, Mike?
Always spend all my time cutting and pasting links.
doghoodapp.com. Hey, Mr. Binks, you know, it never ceases to amaze me how we make friends through our dogs, how they are just natural socialites. That's why I'm so excited to be jumping on Zoom right now to speak to Timmy Alexis Carrington-Ward all about his cockapoo called Mr. Bosley. I'm Anna Webb. Welcome to A Dog's Life. Timmy Alexis, how pleased am I that you've joined us on A Dog's Life?
Well, I'm thrilled. I've been a fan of yours for ages and ages, from listening to you and Joe Good doing your barking hour from as far back as that. So I'm
Gosh.
so excited about this.
Oh, Timmy, well, thanks for being a fan of the radio show. Actually, this week's quite monumental. I was just chatting to my very loyal, lovely producer, Mike, about this. I don't know if you've heard, we're going national on Friday. So just before this airs, actually, when everyone's listening right now, we would have done our inaugural live to 5 million listeners broadcast of what will now be called Barking at the Moon again.
Fantastic. Congratulations to you both. That's amazing.
Thank you. No, I know it is. It's great. And it just proves really that dogs are such a conversation piece. You know, dogs impact our lives, don't they, Timmy, in so many ways, ways that we can't often kind of put our finger on it, really. But without them around, you kind of feel lost.
Oh, well, totally. And also, I do think today's world, I mean, we're getting more and more into our dogs. I think we're seeing them as actually our safe place, actually, our getting our minds back to where they want to be, sort of thing, because the world is going crazy at the moment. And we've got this sort of like constant in our life that are just there. They don't answer you back. If you want a cuddle, they'll give you a cuddle. You've got someone to look after who appreciates you. They're brilliant. They are brilliant.
And you've had several dogs. I mean, you grew up with dogs, didn't you, Timmy?
Yeah, we had we had our first house, family home. We did have a cat, but then we introduced a dog. We've had, and that was Bruce. That was a big Labrador. But I think I was a sickly child. I developed something. I was allergic. So he went to my uncle's. But from there on in, I must have got over it, because then we had a black lab called Emma. Then we had a Shih Tzu called Oliver, followed by another a golden retriever called Jessica. And I can't tell you, apart from just being there, so they become part of your life anyway. So a dog in my life is my life. But I can't tell you how much it affects you when they aren't there. That
Oh,
is the biggest deal of having a dog, I think, but is part of having a dog.
I know. I so hear you. I mean, recently, actually, I lost my cat, Gremlin, who I'd had for nearly 13 years, and it was an untimely death. So it's all been a bit rough lately, you know, because yes, it is an inevitability in one way or another. But yes, the loss you feel for a pet, and I do include cats here because until I had
Oh my
Gremlin,
God, yeah.
yeah, until I had Gremlin, I didn't really understand cats. I had no idea because I hadn't had a cat before, and he moved in. It's a long story, and I didn't go and choose him and think, oh, I'm going to bring a cat into my life. He just arrived,
Yeah.
and the journey was an amazing one. So yes, it is this. It's like animal magic, isn't it? This connection with nature, with other species that can teach us so much.
I mean, and also they're well, they're not opinionated. They don't. They just come perfect, don't they? Really. And I have to say, when you were saying about your cat, we had two cats, Jeremy and Jemima.
I love the names. I've just got to say, I love these names because once upon a time, it was thought a bit weird to call your dog or your cat a human name, you know. But I think it's great. I think it's so super to do that because
My husband's favorite is to have just the plainest name. So actually, his name is David, but he loves dogs that are called Dave or Lynn, just because they're just so normal names. He loves that.
I met a Labrador today, actually, called Gary.
I love it. That is so good, isn't it? It's so funny. I love that.
I know, it just does make you laugh. I don't know why.
But with Jeremy and Jemima, what I was saying with cats is they're just as I'm going to say useful. That sounds wrong word, but they're just as part of your world because with Jemima, she would jump on the bed and I'd say, okay, here, and I'd point down to my armpit type thing. So she would come up to my arm so I could cuddle her to go to sleep. And honestly, she would know that. I said, no, not there, here. And she'd eventually get there, lie in my arm, and I just put my arm over her and hold her paw. And we'd go to sleep like that. It's amazing. And you only have that connection when you've got that cat there all the time or that dog there all the time. You learn their ways and the relationship just builds as they arrive. The minute they arrive, is your relationship is building and it gets stronger and stronger and lovelier.
And that's brilliant when you know that, you know. I feel some people aren't maximizing this relationship at the moment, and that makes me a bit sad because you have to engage, you have to build the communication, build the trust and the focus, particularly with dogs. Cats obviously are a bit more independent, but
yeah.
That said, this stray cat landed on my doorstep 5.5 weeks ago, Timmy, in a terrible state. I don't know what had happened to him, and he's didn't have a chip, and all the local rescues were full, so he's still here. And he's coming on, actually. I'm training him to do a high five, but it's doing stuff like that. I know. I should be writing my next feature, but no, yeah, exactly. What am I doing? I'm training Baggy, as he's known, Bags for short, to do a high five. It's far more fun.
But all of that is good. Since leaving home, me and my other half have had two dogs. The first being Archie Rio, who was my mate. Totally my mate. So when he went, that was just, oh my God, the worst thing. And now we've got our new dog, Bosley, John Bosley. But the reason I'm saying this is because David, my other half, he does that all the time. Doing the tricks and things. He even does a Wonder Woman turn. So you say Wonder Woman spin, and he'll do a spin. I mean, it's very camp, obviously, making it a Wonder Woman spin, but I did listen to you and Joe once saying, listen, they'll do anything for food, and that's the way they'll learn as well. So to treat them and so if they've got something like their dinner or whatever, make them work for it and things like that. So I got that off you two, actually. But I pass that on to him. I don't do the training of them, the tricks and things, but he spends hours. And the things he can make Bosley do is amazing. I love it. And we actually have a little floor show. So we go around to people's houses, like, do you want the Bosley show? And he's like a little bit like Britain's Got Talent with him now.
That's fantastic. I obviously love that. You know what I'm like about training. And I always say, you know, when you feel things aren't going quite right between you and your dog, or you feel you need to connect a bit more, then my recipe is always train a new trick, because it's a way of just engaging in the moment with your dog. I think that's great. I mean, do you find dogs really inspire you, Timmy? Because you're a multi-talented broadcaster, journalist, to name just two things, but explain a bit more how Bosley, really helps you in what you do.
Well, there's sort of like two answers in this. Okay, actually three. Firstly, with putting my work aside, I suffer from depression. Or actually, I was told by my other half not to say suffer. I live with depression, but I haven't had an episode in 10 years. And before that, that was I'm on antidepressants for life, and that seems to have helped. But actually, the other thing is we got Archie Rio back then. So I don't know, there might be a connection, because also what is very useful for being in a depression is walking. So they always say, go out and walk. So when you have got that dog, whatever you're doing, whatever the weather, you have to take them for a walk, especially with us, we live in a flat. So, and there's those times that we all know when it's raining and you just think, oh, there's anything else I'd rather be doing. But it is so good when I'm doing work or whatever, just to go, right, this is now Bosley's time, or as it was, Archie Rio time. We have got to go for a walk. And it's just brilliant just to go, right, down tools, forget everything, walk your dog. And I tell you, you're walking and you're looking at the dog. And I don't know about you, but I just smile. I'm looking, anything they do, I'm just smiling. And obviously my Instagram page, my Facebook page, everything is just covered with my dogs, and I don't care. It's like, just unfollow me, but I just adore them. But then work-wise, I do a YouTube channel called Here She Is. I have to say I'm not a journalist, because my friends who are journalists will kill me if I let that go.
I know. Well,
I am a broadcaster, but I'm not a journalist. But anyway, I do a YouTube show called Here She Is. And actually, Archie Rio comes in and does sketches. I have celebrities in my show, and I roast them on my bed. And we also do sketches and things like that. So if ever I need a sketch with a dog, I used to use him. So he has literally met like Cheryl Baker, Christopher Biggins. He was a little bit of a celebrity dog, and Emma Samms from Dynasty, they'd be doing sketches with him. So he was a bit of a star in his own little right. But that's how he helped me in that. But as in physically, and Bosley's not quite there yet. Bosley, I mean, anyone who wants another dog after one of they've had to sadly say goodbye to their first dog, don't ever think you're getting the same dog, whatever you think, even if it's the same breed, same color, and they are not the same dog. Every dog has got their personality and their differences, because Bosley is just I say this with love, the most independent, naughtiest dog. People used to say, does he think his name is No Bosley? Because it was just no Bosley all the time. So just for people, if they are thinking about getting another dog, it won't be the same. It's not just like a complete replacement.
Yeah, no, totally. And I so agree in terms of, when you lose the dog, and, I've done it when Molly, my first bull terrier, passed. It took a little while, but then I brought in another miniature bull terrier, just assuming everything I was just going to pick up from where we left off, and she'd just step into Molly's shoes. How wrong was I?
How wrong were
exactly,
you?
Exactly. Very wrong. Very wrong.
I've been there.
Yeah.
And did you also have that? Oh my goodness, I forgot how much work a puppy takes.
Well, because I train other people's dogs, and at the time I was doing lots of classes and everything. So having puppy classes and helping people and going through the trials and tribulations, and, being almost like, a coach, a de-stress people just go, I've had the most terrible day with my puppy. You know, we've had sick everywhere, diarrhea, don't know what's caused it. She won't sit, yes, you know, and just going, right, yes, no, I understand. No, this is quite normal. Don't worry, it's just an upset tummy. So I was like a counselor. That's the word I'm looking for, you know, for so many puppies. So, but then bang, Prue arrived, and it was like everything heightened. She was like the storm that Dorothy and Toto get wrapped up in. And I was sort of living in a planet sort of circling Earth, actually, for some time, like a satellite.
So I'm with you.
Are you with me?
I used to, it would be like, it's like, I imagine, like when you see parents when they've had their first child and they just look like they haven't brushed their hair or washed in weeks.
Yes.
It was like that. I would just be lying on the, because they wake up, they've got those sharp pin teeth when they're young, haven't they? And they want to nibble you, and it really hurts. They're not biting you, obviously, but and then they want to be up because they're, and so I just come out, sit on the couch in my onesie with this dog, and try and steal a bit of sleep while he's just playing around on my chest or whatever. And I just thought, do you know what? I can get through this. Parents are doing this all the time. Come on. But luckily he grew up.
But it's character building. And I think, you know, you do need aspects in your life that stress you, because there's different types of stress, isn't there? And some stress is good for you. Without any stress, then we'd be like cotton wool in our head, you know. So
totally. It's a loving job.
Yeah, exactly. And the nurturing aspect, I think everybody has it in them to nurture. So I think it's a wonderful release, really, to help animals and build relationships. But yes, so Bosley, I know I haven't met him. I'd love to. Explain what breed Bosley is and how old is he?
Okay, so Bosley is a cockapoo. His colouring they call chocolate merle. He's very everybody. I live on Harrow on the Hill, and everybody knows us purely because of him. He is stunning. But they do say that pets look like their owners.
They do to me, yes.
But he's stunning. He's got like, I'm going to say it's like a marbled brown, all different brown effect on his body. We hadn't seen this anywhere. And actually what I wanted was a chocolate, just all the same color one. So if I'd seen the photo properly, I wouldn't have gone and collected him. But obviously, when you see them, you're never going to leave them anyway. Once you see a puppy, you're like, well, I'm having it now. So I wouldn't have had him. But the first experience of him was I went in, he came wagging up to me, licking my face. Then I put him back down. He just went off and cocked his leg. And I mean, seriously, and that just sums him up. And I got him in the car. He just wanted me to be cuddling him, stroking him. But there was no whining when he wasn't missing his mum or anything like that. He is the most independent dog I know. In fact, we jokingly say, and I say jokingly, if he got stolen, he'd be quite happy. He'd be like, oh, there's a new home. Because he's so independent. And age-wise, you asked, he's coming up to 5 in December. And honestly, I tell you this, I did not realize how much I am dependent on a dog, and how much I have conversations with a dog until we lost Archie Rio. I'm a West End widow. My husband is a company manager. He runs theatre shows. He's currently doing The Time Traveller's Wife in town, but he's probably out from 11 till 11. So I'm actually on my own, and I hadn't realised until Archie, we had to sadly say goodbye to him, how much I spoke to him. I was just like, wow, I feel muted. Yeah, I'm not.
Never, Timmy.
I said muted, not neutered.
Never muted.
But I felt, honestly, I did not realize until that moment. And now we've got Bosley. Everything's all right again. He's not Archie Rio, but he's my mate here, and we just have our lovely days here while I'm doing whatever I'm doing. He does what he does. And it's just, it is a dog, a life without a dog for me. It's not a life, I'm going to say.
Yeah, well, gosh, I so agree. And I think that's great that you admit that, to be honest. And I think it's quite unusual for a cockapoo to be so confident. That's why I'm looking forward to meeting him. Actually, I feel awful that I haven't, I must admit. But what with the pandemic and everything, it's been quite difficult, hasn't it, really, in the last few years. But I think people are getting back into it now. Although, as you said, life is so fractious, really, at the moment. And it seems very intense. I don't know. I'm sure it wasn't like this before the pandemic. I think there's been some sort of a socio-economic shift. Well, probably because of Liz Truss, but what do you think?
Do you know what? I'm going through a really strange time with the world at the minute. The world is a not very nice place, in my opinion, at the minute. But then, like we all do, you can shut that door, as Larry Grayson would say. And there you are with your dog and everything's all right again. It really is. I know that sounds really naff and rubbish, but everything is all right when you just look into your dog's eyes and you just think, oh, we're all right.
Yeah, definitely. Gosh, I so get that, and just going out, as you say, I mean, I love it, as being on your own with your dogs in, nature. But it sounds so corny, but it really boosts you. It's fantastic. And I just feel I love you because you walk Bosley yourself. I think that's so important to build a relationship with your dog, by doing it, and rather than hiring dog walkers the whole time, because I couldn't imagine anything more weird. Somebody else will like, no, well, I'll come with you when you walk.
It's a little bit, isn't it? It's a little bit boarding school, isn't it?
Yeah,
with your kids,
exactly.
Which I do think with kids, it's like, if you have got kids, for me, if I had kids, I wouldn't want them to be at a boarding school, because then I wouldn't see them grow. So it is exactly that.
It is. Or you're not at all in control of your child's responses to certain stimuli, teachers, or an environment, or a stressor that maybe you're unaware of that could create psychological damage to your child from an early bad experience. But all of that happens to dogs, you see.
No, absolutely.
So, and I think, you have to be aware of the emotional intelligence and integrity of your dog. Well, when you bring one into your life, it's not just for Instagram. It's not an accessory or a status symbol, because the world of dogs has had a shake-up, Timmy, in the last couple of weeks. What with the XL bully being added to the Dangerous Dogs Act, a dog added for the first time in over 30 years, with a piece of legislation that hasn't really worked anyway. So the whole thing's really quite bizarre. I mean, I'm hoping it will all be revoked, because I feel, the impact on dogs now, this is a massive, like, negative shock, like a shockwave that's gone through the dog community, and which I believe on certain levels does need a bit of a shake-up, actually, and an awareness of dogs and why you brought a dog into your life in the first place.
I'm actually think it should be increased, that side of it. I think we need to really take care of them, and the amount of cruelty you hear about with dog owners, I think, and there should be bigger punishments. They are living creatures as well, so I just can't bear any cruelty to our animals, and I wish that was higher up on the list of crimes, as it were, and that they come down a lot more on them when they have been committed, because how could you, just these defenseless dogs that would just, you never should, but I mean, you could kick a dog and it would still come back for love. That's what's so heartbreaking, isn't it?
I know. And certain people do train dogs quite harshly so that they feel very, dominated by their owners. So they, take everything, really. So they become a bit numb, and you do see that. But yeah, I know. And the thing is,
Bosley isn't that, by the way. Bosley owns us, unfortunately.
I realise that, but that's great. I mean, all I'd say is to me, watch the conversations with him, because you're rewarding all of his thought processes just by talking to him.
Anna, so, by the way, like Princess Diana said, there's 3 of us in this marriage. Listen, there's 4, because you're always in my head. When he's this is what he does. He sometimes just goes into the bedroom and he's lying there and he'll wake up and just bark for us to go and say hello to him, which is so naughty, I know, and that's why you're always in my head. There's 4 people in this marriage. You're the 4th.
That's so good. That's such a compliment. I love that. But there you go, you see. So I think Bosley, you say he's very independent, but you've trained him to be so. So he's lying on the bed, you know, and he's like, oh, I can't be bothered to get up to
Really,
go
is
and
that?
see Dad. So I'm just going to bark, and then he'll come and I'll get a
So,
treat.
I know.
And so he's trained you. So
He
this
really
is just,
has.
yeah, and it's quite, you know, it's a common thing, this, and sometimes people just don't see it, that's how interaction can create behaviors that you don't want. They're not bad behaviors necessarily, but they're not what you want. So
I can see it, like I say, and you're in my head. You're in my head
you've got to
saying, well,
work
you
it,
know,
you've got to
you're
work
going to
it.
do that.
You've got to ignore the barking, and you've got to have something really interesting, like his favorite toy or some really delicious, juicy, fresh chicken, and just wait it out. Maybe sit on the sort of threshold of the bedroom doorway and just sit on the floor. And, you know, you're not going to give him any eye contact because that rewards behavior until he gets off the bed and comes to you, and you get him in a sit on the threshold, and then gradually move perhaps a bit towards your desk so you can have him sat beside you when you're busy planning and producing your YouTube channel. Just a thought.
No, absolutely. And you're right. The only thing is, and life gets in the way of that, we're in flats, so you worry about the neighbors with the barking. We've done it a few times, believe me, we've let it go on, but he's a stubborn little mule. And secondly is that little face, Anna. He's got a lovely little face.
No, oh gosh, Timmy, you rang me and you were so excited. In fact, I listened to this whole episode when you went to see a psychic. Now,
oh yes,
I'm really, we had such an amazing conversation about it, and I know she referenced Archie as well, didn't she? And
so
it
I sat there straight away. I went first. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I mean, do you think there is life after death? Oh, it's a bit of a dramatic question.
No, I'm in that place as well, because of all this questioning about the world and how bonkers it's all going. I had got into this psychic world, and we become friends now. Webb is her name, and she was phenomenal. I went to her, and we the reason I'm going to give you all this story is because I've been just to lunch with her just the other day, because we've become friends. So I know the answer to these questions, if you believe it. And the first thing, I sat down and she went, oh, a little black dog's just run over to you. He's so excited to see you. And I just thought, oh, here we go. Because obviously that's not obviously, because you don't know, Archie Rio was a little black cockapoo. Right. And he just came over, and I mean, I thought, oh, here we are, you know your stuff. Anyway, I'll tell you more on that. And the whole reading was just amazing. Not any, maybe take that with you, it was all boom, boom. Robin, my dad's name. Who's Sharon, my sister. It was like that. No quivering. She said, and you're being looked after by your nan. She's loves life, la 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 la. She says you're her favorite. She knows she shouldn't. And she said, what's your skin? She said moles and things. And I just had pre-skin cancer diagnosed on my nose. So there you go. But she said, and yeah, her name's Leela. And I said, well, do you know what? You've been spot on everything. I'll let you know her name's Lila. So I went home to my dad, and I said, everything was perfect apart from this thing. She said, well, you know, Nanny gave her body away for science. And I mean, that's how advanced and fun she was and everything, and thinking about the future. And he said, so we had to do all her birth certificate and everything. And Lila was her nickname. Her real name was Leela. And I didn't even know that. So it was amazing. Anyway, the big thing with Archie Rio is my other half went an hour later, and she said, oh, a little black dog's just come over to you, excited to see you. She said, it's a bit strange because he's already been here once today. So that was just mind-blowing. Anyway, she, since getting to be her friend, and I had her on my show, my radio show, and we were discussing it, and I went around to dinner and everything. And I just wanted to quiz her, because I've never come away from a psychic reading and questioned it, as in, this could really be it. Because you know, you get psychic readings that are one's just like, oh, that was just absolutely rubbish. The other one is, oh, that's so wishy-washy. that can be for anybody, or there's that one person that's so spot on. And you always want to say, why don't psychics just say names and things if they're so good? Well, this is what she did. And then you question it. So they'll never win. So I established that with her. It's like, you'll never win, because people always go, well, this or that or that. Anyway, what happens, she says, and this is getting, it's very long-winded, but it's answering your question about dogs.
No, I
and
love this.
afterlife.
I love this because I'm really into the paranormal.
Well, she said, we all choose our parents. It's like a tick list. You come down on the earth and you'll pick, however awful your life is, you picked it just to learn something from it. So that sort of, to me, answers, if we're going down this road, okay, that sort of, to me, answers when you think life is so cruel, when somebody's been taken so young, or somebody's done, that would be the answer to that, if that person has picked it, let's say, before they've come to earth, because they want to learn something from that, because we're here to learn. And she said, this is our worst plane. This is the cruelest and the horriblest plane to be at. So you'll keep coming back, learning your lessons until you're ready to then become a guide. And then you will guide people, she said. And she's got her guides, and she talks through her guides to our guides, whoever's going in. Do you know what I mean? So she'll interpret that through them. And we were discussing about animals and things, because I always had a thought of how awful if you were a dog and you wanted to come back as a human, or that thing of, well, I suppose reincarnation, when they say you come back as a snake or a blah, 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 blah. But actually, if you are a dog, you don't know anything else but being a dog. So she was saying they are there, and they do stay in that form. And it would be the same, I suppose, as if we did come back as a snake. We wouldn't want that. We don't know what that's about. That's not our world. So everyone keeps their being, as it were, but you do keep having different lives and so on. She also said, crazily, she said, there are also other planet people there. So we communicate through a different way. We don't speak like we speak here or anything. It's all they can all communicate anyway. So eventually, the top job, I think, is an angel, she was saying. So it's so interesting. And I was absolutely just throwing questions at her, saying, what about this person? But what about the queen? How come she's the queen? How come she could tick that box? And she said she would have gone through so many levels to get to that. But it's also learning in that little world. She might have to learn what it's like to be humble, I suppose. I don't know. But we've all got our little lessons to learn, and that's what we're here for. And we've ticked the box for it. Do you not think that that really does help me with the, like I was saying, with the, when you're just think, how is there a God if somebody can die like that or that? But if you think about, if we picked it to learn a lesson, it's more digestible, don't you think?
Yeah. I suppose the meaning of life. That is really interesting, because yes, often it all seems really unfair.
Yeah.
But I was very inspired when you rang me, and there was more about Archie, I'm sure, that you told me.
It was all just so ridiculously accurate, so ridiculously. I also went to another psychic that would say as much as, I've two good psychics. Another one was a woman called Kimberly. Actually, three I've had in my life that have been spot on. Kimberly, and she would say about Archie Rio, I think this might be it, when I used to come home, he used to be really moody with me. And she said, he's moody with you because you've left him. He cannot believe you leave him. He's livid that you've left him at home. He's cross with you.
Yeah, but I see that. I mean, I can see that in dogs already. They get the hump when I've been out and everything. And then they tend to be really quite naughty, just as I'm sort of unraveling from having done something and come in and, you're a bit knackered and everything. And then it's like all systems go. No, you haven't got time to sit down. We're doing this. We want to go out. Where's our dinner? No, it's fascinating. I think, when you've had a death experience fairly recently, you are looking for signs and a rationale for it all, aren't you?
Absolutely. And that is actually what happened. If you can lend me a bit of time on this as well, that I did lose a friend. He was 49. He didn't smoke. He wasn't a big drinker. All of the above that you'd expect he should be doing. He didn't, and he just died, heart attack on the golf course. And with him though, the strange thing is, after he's gone, the last time I saw him, which was probably about a week before he died, I talked to him. I said, "What do you think about life after death and everything?" And he said, "You don't need to worry about it." He said, "It's there, but we're not meant to know, but it's fine." And he's had so many experiences, but he wouldn't divulge because you just don't need to know. But it was very odd that was our last conversation. He was, "It's fine." And actually, I was very pleased with that answer. I said, "That's really lovely to hear. I love it when you're," because I envy a faith, I suppose, or a belief, because that actually is my Achilles heel in life, is I don't want to die because I'm having such fun. But when you talk to other people and everything, his funeral, somebody was talking about how he had this friend that he met every month from his childhood, and they had dinner and everything. And this last meeting, this guy said, I'd said to him, "What else do you want to do?" and everything. He said, "No, I've done it all. We're all right. We've done everything. We've got this, we've got this." So it was like wrapping stuff up. His last text to his wife was, we're all right. We're fine. We will be all right. And then his mum and dad were around like 2 days before, and they were talking about funeral songs. It was just so crazy. And also, Anna, if you're into all of that stuff, I don't know if you know about 1s, 11s. Do you know about that? And angels contacting you. If you look for it's 11:11 on clocks and things, and like when you see on a digital clock 11:11, it's a powerful, strong number apparently, or something. It's the way angels or spirits contact you. And my friend Rachel she said, and she showed me her phone, and she said, look, when she looked at her phone, boom, and she took screenshots of it, 11:11. And my other half was the same. He said, this is mad. 11:11. He took it straight away when he looked at it. But the other night he came home late, and I said, well, what have you been up to? Not as in accusing with a rolling pin. I meant, how did the day go?
Rolling pin.
And he sat on the bed chatting what he's doing. He said, oh my God, just look at the thing. And it was 11 minutes past 1. And I said, even this morning, he took a photo to send to our friend Rachel. I said, what time are you going? He said, well, and he said, look at this. That is just ridiculous. 11:11 again. And we sent it to my friend, and she said, do you know what? Because he left behind my friend with his 2 daughters. And she was saying, well, my daughter was upset and everything. So I said, come in, you can get into the bed with me tonight, la, 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 la. And as soon as she calmed down, Rachel just turned, and it was 11:11 on the clock. It's so mad. I know this sounds absolutely bonkers. And I even said to David, yeah, but are you looking for that now? And he said, no, I'm not. I said, but you wouldn't remember if it was 9 minutes past 6. So I don't know. But it has been very spooky how this 11:11 is just popping up everywhere.
Gosh, yes. You see, I mean, I do read lots into things like this. I mean, I must say, particularly, as I say, with Gremlin just passing, so many strange things happened. Red Admiral butterflies. I even had sightings of him that, are optical illusions, obviously, but clearly. But, and obviously my brain was really thinking about Gremlin, and it was a really bright, sunny day. But there was Gremlin on the steps outside my front door. And, I was like, what? And it was totally mad. And loads of other things as well happening. Channeling, you see, through the foxes that I must admit, I love foxes, but these urban foxes at the moment around here. I've had one in the flat, actually. One. Yeah. So, ransacked.
And what are they like when that happens? Are they scary or?
Well, the fox ransacked the flat actually when I wasn't here. Came in, he pushed the window, came under the window, and that was only a week ago. And it was definitely a fox, because I caught him trying to get in under the window the following night, and that confirmed it. So cushions everywhere. I thought I'd been burgled. Cushions thrown everywhere. My trainers strewn all around. a big turd by the front door. So when I opened the door after a long day, I nearly trod in this thing.
Oh, and that's
I'm
not
like,
a nice smell, is it? A fox
no, not
poo?
at all. And then, oh, don't. So I mean, I suddenly thought, what's gone on? Hang on, a burglar wouldn't have done such a nice little present by the human burglar by the front door, really. That might have been a bit strange. Anyway, but, you know, I believe they were channeling Gremlin on several occasions, the foxes, because Grem hung out with the foxes. He was strong enough to deal with foxes.
Oh, really?
Huge cat. Yeah, he was 7.5 kilos and he was thin. So it was just really strange. And it's through animals haven't got the constraints on their brains that we have, or any sort of, you know.
Well, they say that with children, don't they? Because
yeah,
they
exactly.
Yeah.
The purity, actually, exactly. And so, you know, I'd see these foxes just sat by my window as if they were giving their final, you know, respects and their goodbyes. It was most weird. This happened. Gremlin's chair was knocked over in the garden, but nothing else was. Just strange things. And so I just find
I think that's all lovely. And you know who has got the best outlook? Well, she's gone herself now. Is Betty White, you know, from the Golden Girls. She said that her mum used to say to her every time somebody died is, now they know the secret. And I think that's really lovely.
Yes, the secret of life. No, it's brilliant. I mean, gosh, Timmy, I could talk for hours and hours on this whole psychic thing. And I know I must reach out to this Gail Webb. I don't know that we're related. Maybe we are. Well, she must know.
Yeah, she'll know. She's booked you in already, dear, as well.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. A week on Friday. But listen, so with Bosley, what are your objectives? I always like to have a plan with my dogs, you know, thinking, right, we need to perfect this. We've got to get the recall a bit sharper. You know, I really want to get the rollover even quicker. So it's just done by a tiny hand signal. What are you working on at the moment with Bosley?
How long have you got? Do you know what? There are a few things. Maybe you can help me. So if we're at a garden party, he will dig their garden.
Right. Okay. Well,
Just
you don't want
dig
that.
their grass. That is our biggest thing. We are so scared, drinking our wine, chatting away, thinking we're having a lovely time to the outside world, but our eyes are like just army people just looking. Is he going to do it? Is he going to do it?
Well, digging's obviously being rewarded. Maybe it is because if he hasn't got a garden, then obviously grass is very exciting to him when he's hanging out. But I think that's all down to attention seeking, because often behaviors all stem from the same root cause. So for me, the digging is directly related to the barking in your bedroom. So it's like, oh, Dad's having such a good time drinking his wine, talking to all his great human friends. I'm so bored. I'm going to dig a hole that is going to create such a reaction that everybody is going to look at me.
Do you know what? I think you're spot on, because I as you were saying that, I liken that to when you meet another dog walker and let's say they're on their leads, he will start digging if I'm chatting.
Oh, it's totally it. I'm probably getting a bit of a stick and chewing on a stick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my own bull terrier will do the similar thing. I mean, she did it today, actually. It's like, I'm so bored with your human conversation. And then everyone's, oh, look at Prue, look how sweet she's being. And I thought, no, she's not being sweet. She's got a snide bit of stick. And she knows they're forbidden because, you know, that you can choke on a stick and splinters in the throat and all the rest of it. So, and she was just disguising herself by looking cute, but she had a stick. And she was just munching away, say, when are you going to notice that I might choke? And so they are so clever.
I love their cheekiness.
I know. I just love it as well. And it is quite a compliment, really, in a way, although you must stop it. So I would have him on a lead, simple as at a garden party, so that he can't go off and do his own thing, and just spend a bit more time really working on engaging him, the massive praise for when he comes back, you know, holding out a bit for him, and then waiting, keeping speech to a minimum, waiting for a head turn, a few paces towards you. When he's coming towards you, it's a huge praise, so that you're praising what his thought processes are at that moment, which is moving forwards. Things like that.
No, that's cool. David and I also did think, I don't know what you think to this, we think he can't process his emotions. Does that sound familiar to you? Have you had people say that to you before?
What do you mean? He gets frustrated quite a lot.
Well, if we're here, if my sister comes around maybe and she's brought her dog with her, it's almost like he's so excited that he will go into the bedroom and then chew the duvet. So what do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, it's down to, I think, attention seeking, and that someone else, another dog, is in his pad. So he doesn't know quite how to cope with the fact that he isn't the only dog. So again, he's deflecting his frustration by destroying something that is very important to you, like your duvet. Or he may go for your new shoes and think, right, I'm just going to take a piece out of the top of this, and then that will teach Dad to not give me 110% of his time.
Right.
So it's a kind of a destruction that he's got in his temperament, which is related to frustration and a bit to anxiety, as not having the boundaries set for him. So when dogs come to visit, it's got to be pretty sort of basic stuff. It's Bosley in this bed, other dog sit over there. You know, you can both have chews, but you're both being dogs, well behaved in the designated places that you've selected for them to be in. So when they get out of their bed, then you ask them to go back into their bed. Having an in the bed cue is a very, 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 very useful skill to have, so that, you know, at any point, Christmas, for example, in your bed, go and settle over there, so you're not going to trip anybody up, or you're not going to be begging around the dinner table. You know, you've got certain cues really instilled into Bosley, and to work on those and turn them into a game, you see, so that Bosley, actually, you're tricking him, so he actually thinks, oh, I'm now center stage with Dad, because you could have the dog bed right in front of you. So I had one friend who put a dog bed right in front of the telly, so that whenever they were watching TV, her dog, thought they were all looking at her. And of course, eye contact is, you know, praise, it's engagement, it's rewarding their behaviors. So she was in a dog bed right in front of the telly, and they'd be watching telly, but the dog would think they were looking at her. So that solved a problem with quite a difficult dog, that was. So things like that, that's kind of what
why do you think, is that why my husband told me to lie in front of the telly as well? Because I'm
Probably
very much like, I just want attention. I tell you what, Anna, though, I'm saying all the bad things. He is absolute, and this is Bosley, not David. He is brilliant at not begging at the table. If we go to restaurants, he will just lie down. He's so amazing in some fields, and so, like I'm saying, the other things, he's naughty. So I didn't want it to be just like, oh, we've got naughty Bosley all the time, because he is brilliant with not begging and being in a restaurant or traveling on the train or the bus. He's brilliant. He's just no trouble at all.
Well, there you go, you see. So you've got a brilliant dog, you know, because no dog is perfect. And I think, you know, it's just on the attention-seeking front, his limit to being ignored is not long enough, if you see what I mean. So he'll go, right, well, that's it. I'm now going to shred the duvet, and that will teach them, you know. And it is an attention-seeking anxiety aspect. So if you can keep the recovery of being ignored longer, so you know, longer that he doesn't go into the bedroom and throw a tantrum, then you know you're succeeding. So that's an area just to think about a bit, you know. We'll keep it short, then go out for a walk, then come back in again, settle him, and he's got to stay in one place for a while, and maybe you have conversations or other people come around, and it's prolonging the good behavior and preempting any negative behavior. So going out for a walk, doing your Britain's Got Talent routine, breaking it up so that you're punctuating his day perhaps a little bit more regularly. Just an idea.
No, absolutely. Like I'm saying, you're God in our house. If I can I ask you, we are in a flat, and he doesn't, apart from the barking on the bed, he doesn't bark at the window throughout the day, but at night he barks out the window. When I say out the window's shut, but just at things outside the window. Now, we did used to put the coffee table across the window so he couldn't get there. But then it just interrupts with our living, having to keep putting the coffee table up there. So we took it away, and we now draw the blinds down, but he can put his head round the blind. But how can we stop him without putting boards up or whatever to
I mean,
outside, him barking at night.
okay, well, so what does he bark when you're in bed?
No, we can be sat watching the telly with him, and he'll hear something. He's obviously hearing something outside. He's not just
It goes
barking,
back, Timmy, it goes back to in your bed, because you make the in the bed cue such good fun, and the reward is so great. You know, it's a Kong filled with mild cheddar mixed with some chicken, and then maybe a little, you know, wild venison treat stuck in there, maybe topped with a bit of mushed banana, something really amazing. So he thinks, cool, gosh, yeah, this in the bed malarkey, I quite enjoy this. I wonder what Dad's going to get for me now. It might be a bit of hot sausage put into a Kong, and that could really get, you know. And so when he gets out of the bed, you put him back in the bed, and if he gets to the window and starts carrying on, it's just like, try not to do a big, you know, big speech performance, and then just bring him back and put him back in his bed. He might get out and go back to the window, repeat, you're back in the bed, and just work through it. And then I promise you, he will just stay in his bed, but it might take a few repetitions. So you're guiding him to the desired behavior that you want and not letting him do what he wants.
That's brilliant, and we've never done that before. But the only thing what my thinking would have been, and why I wouldn't have it, is I just thought, okay, he's barking, I'll put him in his bed and he gets a treat. Will he not connect that with that?
No,
with
because
barking?
No, because you're rewarding the in the bed. So he's moved away from the window. He's in his bed. So you're rewarding him going into the bed. It's not related to the barking. That's why it's got to be minimum fuss. You know, even have him on a lead on an evening, so that you don't have to sort of make it a big hoo-ha to catch him and put him in the bed or whatever, or grab him by the collar or whatever and lead him to the bed. So you've got him on a lead, so you can make it quite easy. Just pick up the lead, Bosley, in your bed. and everyone sings from the same hymn sheet, so David's got to do this as well, and practice through the day. So it's in the bed, and then he doesn't get out of the bed until you give him the cue to get out of the bed, and you only ever give him a treat when he's in the bed.
Okay, you'll think I'm doing this on purpose now, but the thing is, we haven't got a bed for him, and I should tell you why. You just choose the bed. So what should I do? Just have a blanket on the floor or something?
Yeah, or you could have a corner of the sofa can be his bed, or he could have an armchair that's his bed. It's basically,
that's a good plan. Yeah,
because I always like to think in every room of the house or the flat, wherever, a dog needs their position. So they default to one end of the sofa, for example. That's where they kind of hang out. Mr. Binks, he's in his little green chair as we speak. And all I have to do is go, Binks, chair, and he knows exactly. He just runs, he jumps on the chair, and it's a good way as well, if you live in a multi-animal household, of keeping things calm and managing a situation, particularly with a new cat in the home. It's great to be able to go, Binks, chair now, and he's there. That's great, you're out of the way now. I've just got to navigate, you know, the cat. That's how you do it.
That's brilliant. And actually, now you're saying that, he has got his place on the sofa as well, so we'll just change that to bed. That would be brilliant. That's perfect.
Brilliant. Well, keep me posted. Timmy, I do hope you come back on, as I'd love to talk a bit more about everything. But I'm just so happy, and I love the way you're so inspired by your dogs. And I'm so sorry about Archie Rio.
Did I tell you that David just said putting him down was worse than losing his dad?
Gosh.
It's that awful. I'm sorry as well. Being a broadcaster, it's really hard, isn't it, when you're being sort of interviewed with not... you just fill in gaps and things you feel like you're doing. So sorry about that. I do talk a lot.
No, I love that, but it's important to talk a lot. That's great. You know, it's brilliant, and it's just lovely to hear different people's views and how their dogs have made such a difference to their lives. Because I think, you know, not enough people really reflect on that or give their dogs the credit for what they really do.
I mean, he is our home. He is our family. We're like I said, apart from you being the fourth member of our family, we're a tight three here. And he shouldn't be. I know I'm going to be told off by you. You're in my head already saying, but he is equal to us.
Well, of course he's equal. Oh no, hang on a minute. I mean, I might even say he's beyond you. You know, I feel that dogs have that power, but it's about teamwork. It's about just nailing a few little behaviors or shaping them, turning them to your advantage so that he's, he doesn't become the dog that's like, oh, he's barking at the window again. And you're watching a film that you really want to watch. And then that sort of disturbs your flow. So the aim is to have everything in harmony and balance. And that takes work, but it can be achieved. And so you're turning his little attention, because I think it's attention seeking, barking at the window, that would fit. I mean, there might be a fox out there. When it's dark, noises are amplified, certain noises are amplified because you haven't got the daily hubbub of cars or whatever going on, and night has a different sort of feeling about it for animals. But I think it's just attention seeking. All right, they've watched that film for now for like an hour. Crumbs, right, I'm going to just bark at the window really and see where it goes. I'll end up with the treat either way. He's very clever. So you've got to be one step ahead of him. That's always my little motto as well, just so that you don't get stressed out, because that's not fair that he's stressing you out, because he doesn't mean to stress you out. So again, it's about preempting these situations.
You know what? You're totally right. And it has given me a little light bulb moment, because it really has. And David he'll be so happy we've got this, and we'll put that into action, and we will let you know, because I think we have got an attention-seeking dog. I can be in the bath, and if he's bored, you're right. If he's just like, oh, where is he? He'll just stand at the bathroom door and bark at me. Or when we've been in bed, if we're in bed too long in the morning, whatever, he will stand at the steps and bark at the bed. So you're right. I think you're spot on. He is attention seeking again, like his dad.
Absolutely. Well, dogs are like their owners. And on that note, Timmy, let's have a catch up and find out how In the Bed is going. It's great fun. You turn it into a game. You just do it lots and lots, little short training sessions, and always quit on and up. I'm sure David will be up for it, because he can build it into his Britain's Got Talent routine.
Well, this is it. And we know that he will. He is capable of learning stuff. Bosley, he's very clever. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. I really am. Thank you.
Not at all. Well, Timmy, look, thanks for, sharing all of this, and particularly all your psychic revelations. And I really hope we can delve a bit deeper next time.
Totally. I'd love that.
That's our show, Mr. Binks. What did you think? Yes, I know, you will come back, I promise, as a Great Dane next time. And you're right, it is time for Woof of the Week. Never underestimate how clever your dog is and how your dog knows how to push your buttons. The key is to turn everything into a game. Well, I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, go on, rate and review the show wherever you tune into your podcasts. It really makes a difference. Thanks again, of course, to Timmy Alexis Carrington-Ward for joining us today, and all the links to his YouTube channel and to his radio show are in the show notes. Thanks, of course, to Mike Hansen, my producer, for all the music and production as ever. And find out more about him at Pod People UK. For me, I'm just at Anna Webb Dogs. What's that, Mr. Binks? Yes, you're right. We will be back in your feed next Sunday. So why don't you subscribe? It's free. And that way, you'll never miss another show. Bye for now.
Pod People.